Hey, this is Digital Dave with another cryptocurrency and blockchain update. Today I have a very special guest. I have Jake Boyle with Caleb Brown right here beside me. The first time I've met him after dealing with him for 6 years. Welcome, Jake.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me in Thailand.
Thank you. And welcome to Thailand, by the way. This is your first trip here, right?
First trip here, yep. I had a scooter ride from my hotel to the studio today, so we're looking good.
Good. Well, welcome. Like I said, it's good to finally meet. We've been working together for 6 years, since 2019.
And 6 years in a normal industry doesn't seem too excessive, but in our industry, it's what, two and a half market cycles we're in right now. So it definitely feels like a lifetime.
Well, in crypto, it's like triple time. So 6 years is like 18 years.
Completely right. Completely.
Yeah. Well, good. So when you arrived, you came here a couple of days ago. When you arrived, the market basically turned green. So
Yes.
thank you for that. If you leave and the market turns red, that means you have to come right back to Thailand.
You know, I've got a bit of an indicator that I've had over the years. For the last 5 years, the rare instances where I've actually been able to take some time off work. For example, just when the market started to run in October, November last year, I was in Norway in the middle of nowhere, way up north, and I had barely any internet to see Bitcoin's going to all-time high. So I feel like every time I'm traveling, the market tends to do pretty well.
Keep on traveling.
Keep on traveling. Exactly.
Well, fantastic. We've got a lot of news lately in the last few days, last weeks, last couple of months with crypto. We now have positive news finally for cryptocurrencies. And we were just chatting earlier about all these things that's really positive for us, for the people in the industry, the developers, the builders, the investors. It's finally coming to fruition, in my opinion.
Yep.
And we've got a lot of things going on that's really positive. Just like, one of the big things is that just recently, I think Trump signed the executive order for, I guess as an EO, for the 401ks. For Americans, the 401ks can now invest into cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of wealth that falls in that basket in the USA, for a business like ours, Caleb Brown, the vast majority of our clients are in probably the age group of, say, 40 to 60 years old. That is our target market. And the amount of wealth that is untapped within that market of the US is insane, because retirement wealth in countries like Australia and countries like America is colossal. So historically speaking, for us to be able to help people get retirement money into crypto, you've got to get a very particularly structured entity. You've got to speak to your tax attorney. You've got to have a lawyer. There's so much bureaucracy and steps involved. And as a result of that, such a tiny fraction of wealth in 401ks in America has any exposure to cryptocurrency.
Correct.
With these changes, that will flip on its head.
Of course, yeah. And I'm reading $12 to $13 trillion.
Yeah.
And these 401ks that can potentially go into cryptocurrencies.
Yep. It's insane. I think it'll be the biggest wealth unlock opportunity that we've had since the rise of ETFs in the space. And we know what that did last year. So
I think this is bigger than ETFs.
Yeah, much bigger.
I think it is. I think so. Good. So like I said, $12 to $13 trillion is going to be unlocked from these 401ks. And maybe these other countries are going to follow suit. Because US they're aiming to be the crypto capital of the world, but these other now we're in a digital war. We're in a digital trade war now, right? So these other countries they have to follow suit. They're going to get left behind. So there could be other European countries or Australia or wherever where these 401k retirement plans are going to be unlocking as well, because people's going to want to get into crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in Australia, as an example, is a very modest-sized economy relative to the USA. Even locally for us, most of our country's wealth is, for individual investors, is tied up either in personal property or their superannuation, their 401k equivalent. So being able to, now property, that's never going to really migrate its way into crypto. People need a house, they need somewhere to live. But in terms of your retirement funds, most people are completely passive to it. They have no idea where it's invested. They probably don't know how much they have any day or year. They just let it do its thing behind closed doors.
Correct.
Whereas now they're in a situation where, well, hang on, if I know that I can get access to something that I'm personally investing in, and my 401k or my self-managed super fund in Australia, my superannuation fund, whatever the case may be, knowing that you can now have that exposure, I feel like it's going to make a lot more people more financially literate and in tune with where their retirement money is actually going, which I'm not sure if people have really thought about that.
No, they don't. their employer says, put in 5% of your check or whatever, 2%
Yep.
or whatever the maximum is, right? And they just like, because their friends tell them, you do it, and then over time you're going to retire, and then you're going to
Yeah.
have a nice little pension. But it doesn't always work out that way.
Correct.
And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see this kind of news. And there's other news too, Jake, about the banking. This was just recently. Now, this is an EO. This is an executive order. So Trump just recently signed an act that prohibits banks from discriminating against people that are using their banking funds to buy cryptocurrencies.
Yep.
Last 4 or 5 years, banks were closing accounts.
Yes.
And now he's made it illegal to do that. This is an executive order. This is fantastic.
Oh, I would say that in my experience as an individual investor, and then with our company, Caleb and Brown, the issue of debanking is without a doubt a top 3 issue that we all face individually and professionally in our business.
Mm-hmm.
I could go on for hours about how crippling those experiences have been. I've been in situations where I've had multiple bank accounts closed on me. I've had letters with 1 paragraph, and then I get a check in the mail saying, here's your Australian dollars. We're going to convert all your foreign currencies at a 4% FX spread, move it into Australian dollars, and send a check in the mail to your house. You did not do anything wrong, Mr. Boyle, but to our discretion, we're closing your account, and you're just banned for life. So my God, and we've seen that with clients, we've seen that with counterparties that we work with. It kills the industry, and it makes people not want to touch cryptocurrency.
It does kill the industry, and it was by design, because we had what was the operation? What was the one that was?
Point.
It was anti-crypto. Choke point?
Was it Choke Point?
Operation Choke Point.
I think it might have been Operation Choke Point.
I think that's what it is.
I don't want to get it mixed with something of an operation which might be a bit more serious or war related or anything like that.
Okay, I think it's Choke Point.
Yeah.
But that was anti-crypto is what that was.
Absolutely.
And they were closing down. They were making it possible for banks to buy crypto. I mean, I was going to name some bank names. I don't need to. We just know there was an issue.
Yeah.
But that's changing too.
You get treated like a criminal.
You get treated like a criminal,
You've got
correct.
businesses like ours in Australia. We pay lots of taxes in Australia. We employ people all around the world. They then pay their taxes. We pay for expensive office space and everything that comes with that. And then in return, we're a great export business because we're an Australian business where most of our revenue comes from overseas. So that's a beautiful business for the Australian government. And then to have this layer of uncertainty with banking, you feel like we're in a country that prides itself on being innovative and things like that. Australia, America, all these places. How are you meant to be the leaders of this industry and its development if you can't even get a consistent bank account? So I really think that these changes that Trump has installed for banking it's underrated just how impactful that will be for the next 5 years of innovation, good businesses, and just allowing individuals to peacefully thrive as investors in this space.
And not be treated like a criminal.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I know so many clients as well, C4C members that had the same issue, their banks getting shut down just because they're trying to make a trade with Caleb and Brown and other exchanges.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a kick in the gut is what it is.
Yeah.
And especially when you get a letter and a check that says, okay, you didn't do anything wrong. Here's your money.
Yeah.
You've lost a little bit of FX spread or whatever, and then see you later.
It's wild. And for a lot of people, that we've got customers who had their bank accounts closed because they did the terrible criminal act of taking some profit and having fiat sent to their bank account.
Oh, you can't do that.
You can't do that. And you know what? They're going to pay their taxes, their KYC verified, they have their source of wealth, source of funds, you name it. Crispy clean. But you took profit in crypto and you sent it to your bank account? No, Guantanamo Bay.
That's exactly. Yeah. Gitmo, here they go, right?
Exactly.
But things are changing for sure. We've come a long way. How long have you been in this space?
Since 2013, so a little while now.
You were an OG of OGs.
Yeah, all my first Bitcoin purchases were in a literal Starbucks. We do have a few Starbucks cafes in Melbourne, Australia. Going to a Starbucks, meet someone, you feel like you're going to get robbed for your cash and you're not going to get the Bitcoin. And then you give them the cash, you have your wallet set up, they'll transfer the Bitcoin across. It was local Bitcoins, which is what we had, which unfortunately doesn't exist anymore to the extent that it once did. But that was 2013. And then Caleb and Brown, we started in 2016. So a little while now.
Speaking of local Bitcoins, which doesn't exist anymore, there's also one that I was using and I was recommending, local cryptos. Local cryptos plural, because it was local Bitcoin singular, local cryptos plural, if I remember it correctly. local cryptos was fantastic for people to say, I don't want KYC, I just want to buy a little bit of Bitcoin or whatever. And you just buy it peer to peer. And, everybody had maybe local Bitcoin was the same way, but yet everybody had a rating, 4-star rating, 4.7, whatever. And I used them quite a lot. And then they got shut down as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your theory? Why are these closed down? Is it from the pressure from the banks or?
Oh, I think it's namely just a lack of know your customer controls in these peer-to-peer transactions. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with one individual buying a bicycle from another individual, nor should they be with one individual selling some Bitcoin for you. Not problematic inherently. But of course, as things get regulated and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency starts to fall under the purview and scope of more traditional ways of regulating industries, then they're going to start wanting, your 100 points of ID and maybe your source of wealth. So in this day and age, you can no longer just go to a Starbucks in Australia and give someone cash and get Bitcoin, not at the level where that can be an actual company doing that. If two individuals want to do it, that's up to them. But businesses like local Bitcoins, local cryptos, very innovative in the early days, but they would have struggled to scale with the changing regulatory environment.
Yeah. On that same note, I want to just one more thing I want to talk about. What was the one that you could buy Amazon gift cards with Bitcoin Cash and maybe some other cryptos? Do you remember that one?
Oh, can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I remember seeing a lot.
I think they're gone as well, though, right?
Yeah.
Because people were buying. That was another way to kind of cash out or use your cryptos or to get cryptos is you sell your Amazon cards. Your Amazon gift card. It was kind of like a workaround or whatever. Nothing illegal, nothing immoral. It's just, but I guess they didn't like that freedom as well. So,
yeah, it's tough. I think in a lot of these industries, the people who innovate in the earlier stages, they almost martyr themselves for the industry to thrive. Like, there's a lot of kind of characters and individuals who are very critical in bringing Bitcoin and in turn cryptocurrency to the masses in the early days. But in order to do so, they got themselves, in some pretty dicey situations in business or personally. Or,
unfortunately, you know, the people that are trying to improve the world, sometimes they get hammered.
Yeah, just collateral damage.
No, it is. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. It's the way of the world. Maybe things turn around though, because like we were talking about these positive things for crypto. We've just been facing headwinds. Now we have tailwinds. Maybe everything is going to change for the better. Maybe we are finally going to see. Economic freedom for the world, or whatever the slogan is, or whatever But things after all these things that are no longer, they're behind us now. But we have a lot of positive things. I'm going to talk about a couple of more things that looks really positive for the crypto market, and why I think that this is actually a legitimate bull market that we're about to enter in, or maybe we're entering now. We actually are in a bull market. It just doesn't feel like a bull market. It's an illusion.
I think the cryptocurrency space, one of the major issues that we're all guilty of is that we refuse to look at things over logical time horizons. We're constantly in the here and now. And the here and now is, I bought this coin and it's not the price that I want, therefore I am angry until it is. And the harsh reality is that if you look at historical cycles, we are somewhat repeating history again. So I recall being in the office back in the 2021 cycle, back in the late 2017 cycle, and it's the same story that unfolds. Bitcoin hits new all-time highs, it breaks its previous highs quite significantly, and then starts to absorb all the market share, all the market dominance of the greater crypto market cap. It hits that like high 60 to 70% kind of range. And then all of a sudden it starts to slow down a little bit. It's not really going up. It's not really going down. And then you start to see that dominance shift and altcoins start to eat that up. Ethereum, historically in 2021, Ethereum would start to run, and that would be the indicator of that money flowing down into the more volatile, smaller market cap alts.
Correct.
And if we look at what's happening now, Ethereum's outperformed Bitcoin dramatically over the course of July and the start of August. It's the first time it's done that in like 3 years. So we're starting to see like this is repeating itself. Bitcoin, like previous cycles, hit all-time high, broke all-time high, started to stagnate a little bit. Ethereum then started to play catch-up and started making up for that lost time. And the next step from here would theoretically be, if history repeats itself, altcoins starting to get that love and attention.
Yeah, that's correct, Jake. So it goes to Bitcoin, traditionally goes to Bitcoin, Ethereum, to mid caps.
Yep.
And then after the mid caps goes to smaller caps. So, we're starting to see, we're seeing Ethereum finally moving after 3 years. Breaking 4,000. We're seeing XRP making some really fun moves as well.
Oh yeah.
So it looks like history is repeating itself.
Yeah.
And then maybe and hopefully we're going to have this wild alt season. So these really small caps are just going to do these wild numbers that we've seen in the past. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, I think that there are so many things happening in the world right now which do point towards a repeat of that 2021 cycle. More capital is flowing into the market. Debt ceiling is raised in the US.
Yeah, I'm glad
we see lower
brought that up.
rates.
Yeah.
You can kind of piece together what would be the perfect recipe for just this colossal bull market.
We're in the perfect storm.
Yeah, and we're seeing signs of those alts really coming back. Like if you look at the month of July, a lot of the best performers in the market were your things like Litecoin started to make a comeback, XRP, XLM. In 2021, those were the cryptocurrencies that kind of disappointed a lot of people because the 17 rally saw XRP as one of the highest performing tokens.
Right.
2021, it was beat down underneath this avalanche of SEC, this government pressure here, and so forth, which is now in the past. But now we're actually seeing, hang on a second, there are coins that can start to really perform irrespective of the greater alt landscape, and XRP being one of them, which is great for, I'm sure, a lot of people watching this.
I think everybody's got XRP at this point, right? But we were also talking about earlier about how people have bought. Okay, so if you bought XRP, 40 cents, 50 cents, which was only a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Was it a year ago? Am I correct? Was it just 1 year ago you could get about 50 cents?
From 2021 through to now, XRP is actually our most traded asset at Caleb & Brown.
Yeah.
By a fairly large margin as well. Now, that's obviously influenced by its stellar price performance and growth in the last few months. But even if we take it back a year, every month, the buy volume that we had on XRP in that window from 40 cents to maybe 70 cents, it kind of fell in that range for the better part of 2022, 2023, 2024. So month on month, we have had so many clients just buy that. We would have probably purchased we must have purchased close to $1 billion worth of XRP at this point.
You guys are big XRP holders with your clients.
Yeah. I think we'd be a top 10 custodian.
That's
of
crazy.
XRP.
That's wild. But speaking of returns though, so people bought XRP at 50 cents. It's now $3 or $3.30, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking at 6.5x already.
Exactly.
And people are complaining, when's this market going to take off?
The amount of time.
Where can you get a 6x in a year? I'm still trying to figure out where you can do that.
I think a few people will be watching this and they'll probably laugh because I've probably had this exact conversation with them recently. They're saying, Jake, I'm just really patiently waiting for XRP to start doing something. I'm thinking, wait, have you not turned your computer on for 3 years? Like, Gensler's gone. SEC case gone, and you've actually hit new all-time highs. I think the issue that we have as crypto investors, and I need to hold myself accountable to this too, sometimes we get a little bit ahead of ourselves. I personally get a little bit greedy. I'll think, I've purchased this coin, I only want to sell it if I make a 50x. But then I should still be quite happy if I'm up 5x or 6x or 8x. I've outperformed every hedge fund in the world.
Everybody's wanting to hit that grand slam back to back, right?
So I tell these XRP clients, I'm like, look, it's all good and well that you might have some sell targets at $6, $8, $12. The list goes on and on. That's all good and well. But, pat yourself on the back. Like, you held steady through a really difficult period of time. You didn't capitulate and sell it all off when all the headlines were telling you that it's going to zero. And now you're up 6, 7x. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It's a good start.
Well, you mentioned about the SEC. Now that case with Ripple is now finished.
Yes.
But I kidded. I was joking in my group, my Patreon group, because I remember announcing once or twice prior to this that it's over. But then it's like it's over again. Now it's really over. Now is it really, really over? But now I think this is really the final deal. All it needs is a judge's stamp of approval. Rubber stamp. And then I think it's done deal.
I think so too. I think, Gensler leaving was really one of the key hallmarks. I started to see XRP get that breakthrough, get itself over the $1 mark, which was a psychological barrier. You have these round numbers that investors really look to break through. And then since then, we keep hearing these headlines of, but we're going to try and get XRP again. We're going for it again. And every time it happens, the media cares less about it. The case seems weaker and weaker. and it starts to just fizzle off and just looks like a complete waste of taxpayers' money, which
Of course
is
it is.
is the case.
Yeah.
All these Wells notices going after Coinbase, going after all these different crypto projects. It's frankly just a waste of your money.
It was, yeah. It was a part of that Operation Choke Point, I think. But yeah, speaking of Wells notice, I mean, a lot of these have been lifted though, like the Wells notice versus Coinbase, Gemini.
Yep.
Has all been withdrawn, and there's others that I'm not remembering. But all now everything's just turning for the better.
Yeah.
For us.
I think it's wild. I was so disappointed in that administration and the approach they had to this industry, because you've got businesses like Coinbase. It doesn't matter if you use Coinbase yourself. You might not like the product. You might like the product. Whatever. That's fine. The reality is, like, they're America's leading pioneering crypto business, multi-billion-dollar market cap, injecting tons of taxes into the country. How many jobs have they created in America? Like, this is something to celebrate and support.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
I won't get into the politics of it all. I'm sure you can guess my opinion.
No, it's okay. But but earlier you talked about interest rates. I think you said earlier, but interest rates, I believe, are going to drop. Are going to lower next month in September, I believe. That's kind of where things are pointing towards.
Yeah, I think Polymarkets is pricing a high probability of a rate cut in
85, 84%.
Yeah.
I saw that too.
And we're in a time of the world now where if you want to actually have a general idea on what's going to happen in the world, the betting markets actually tends to be one of the better indicators, because there's no political bias. It's individuals putting their money where their mouth is.
You know, I don't know if this is true or not, but Polymarket got so many things correct. Maybe it was the Trump election and maybe some other things too. I read that they arrested the guys behind Polymarket because they were saying, "How did you know that these people were going to win the election? Must be some kind of
that was
espionage,
wild.
right?"
That was wild.
Was that real? Was that?
Yeah. It was. I remember we're in the office, and it would have been some ridiculous hour at this point, and we knew that the election had been won by virtue of the price action on Polymarkets and the bets being closed. Polymarkets called the election before any of the major media headlines did.
That is crazy.
So the young genius who was the founder of Polymarkets, who's done tremendously well, built a great product. My understanding was that there were maybe some people in politics who weren't so happy with his product, but I think everything is fine now.
Okay.
I don't think it's a long-term problem. Just
Okay.
a little political shake-up, I'd say.
Everything's kosher now, right?
Yeah, he didn't deserve that.
Oh man. So also I want to bring up too about people think that the bull market is over. I don't know why the people say that bull market's over. I don't know why. We got so many positive things going for us, but one of the indicators is the Coinbase app on the App Store, maybe Google Play as well. But it's not ranked in top 50, top 20, of course. I don't know if it's in the top 100 for finance.
Last I checked, it went from maybe 300, and then in the last few months, it's crept its way to sub 200. But we're not even close to the 2021 levels.
Where did it get in 2021?
I'm not sure. It must have been top 10.
I think it was. I think it was top 10. I think it was.
Like,
I think it was.
Go on your home screen, and you've got like Facebook, Coinbase, Google. That's what you need.
It was definitely top 10. I think it was. It might have been top 5 as well.
Probably, yeah.
So this is a really good indicator that we're not even close to a top signal, in my opinion.
And Google search trends as well.
Yeah,
I think one of the best indicators to look at is a bull market starting, is a bull market over, is you start looking at cryptocurrency as a core headline. Search Google search trends, keyword Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, Ethereum. Spell Ethereum wrong with an I.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. You brought that up earlier.
Yeah,
tell us about that again. That was really interesting.
It's wild. I saw someone do like a big write-up on when Ethereum is spelled incorrectly with a second, an I instead of an E. It's one of the better indicators that a new wave of retail money is coming in. Because think about it, anyone who's going to go on their phone and Google Ethereum and spell it incorrectly is probably someone who overheard at a family dinner, hey, I've made 5 times my money on Ethereum. They're thinking, I've got to get in on this. They pull out their phone, they quickly Google it. Then they have to download Coinbase because that's the first thing that comes up in their face as a new investor. So Google search trends for Ethereum spelled incorrectly, and just even for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrency. If you do it, if you're watching this and you go on Google and you do it, you'll see we're not even close to 2021 levels. If we get to those levels again, and we've got money printer likely back in action in the US, highly likelihood that interest rates cut, a pro legislative environment for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin at $120,000, ripe repeating history by the looks of it. I don't think the market's over just yet. I think the indicators are looking good.
I think we have some fun times ahead.
Definitely.
We deserve it. This has been a grueling bear market. This has been the most psychologically taxing bear market I've ever seen. Because it's like, how many head fakes have we had? Because you and I got on the video I did for members only.
Yeah.
10 months ago, whatever it was, right?
Months ago, yeah.
And we were like, oh, nobody's sleeping because this market's just taken off. Everybody's excited.
No, that would have been March 2024, so just over a year ago, and it's when we finally started to see this move. And we're all in our office like, oh, here we go. Finally, here we go. We're going to get the company card's going to be getting coffees again. Life is good. And then it just went back down. It
goes back down. And that's happened.
It stagnates.
And then it's happened again. And then it stagnated again. And now I think this is probably, hopefully, the legitimate market, the precursor of a raging bull market, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I mean, all the signs are here. All we can do is say we can look at the history, we can look at the tailwinds that we have now as opposed to headwinds. And we can say, okay, everything really looks good. We're definitely not near a top. Retail's not really in yet. They're not downloading the Coinbase app, just a little bit, a few people. People are searching for cryptos, searching for Ethereum, like you said.
Yep.
But I don't see a ton of retail money coming in. But I think this time it's going to be like institutional money that's really going to take over.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's really what's driven this market. It's why Bitcoin's had such impressive market dominance, because it is those ETF inflows. It is those traditional corporate treasuries getting exposure to Bitcoin. And love it or hate it, and everyone will have their own opinion here. But the reality is, if you're going to get a multi-billion-dollar company looking to get crypto exposure, they're going to do it in an institutional fashion, and they're likely going to look to the cryptocurrency that makes the most sense for their investment goals. And digital gold does sell itself to that a lot more. I don't think we're going to start getting major institutions buying various altcoins. So a lot of these large institutions, the reality is, whether we like it or not, if they're going to get crypto exposure, it's either going to be through crypto businesses that they acquire themselves, or a modest degree of balance sheet exposure to Bitcoin, the digital gold with limited supply. That's more likely going to get board approval. I don't think we're necessarily going to start seeing the balance sheet of Fortune 500 companies. Let's get into some altcoins. I think maybe that'll be a few cycles later.
A couple of cycles later, for sure. Yeah. Viewers definitely can notice my Theta shirt. I've been talking about Theta for a long time. And you know what? Let's talk about Theta. Okay. Theta. A very interesting thing that you and I had a discussion earlier. A lot of people don't realize that Theta is fully diluted, meaning that all the coins, all 1 billion coins, are available to trade. But you made an interesting factoid. You told me an interesting factoid the other day. You said it's the only, out of the top 100, Theta is the only fully diluted crypto in the top 100. And I thought that was really interesting. I didn't realize that was the only one. And I was looking at some of my other coins I like or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I was like, Chainlink, yeah, it's not fully diluted, this, that, and the other, right? And it's very interesting. I think that's correct.
Yeah.
And that's really important for investors to realize that there's, once, you can buy Theta for like 85 cents or 80 cents now, right? Once the Theta's gone, that's it. There's no more, there's no inflation. And I think Theta, I've been a fan of Theta. I've done a lot of videos. I've got more than 1 million views talking about Theta. I think they're doing a lot of things. They've done, during this bear market, they have been building more than just about anybody else. I can't name any other project. Maybe there's others, but I can't really think off the top of my head a project that's been building as much as Theta during this whole grueling bear market. And I think that's really interesting. And I think they're just going to do something spectacular.
I think that this cycle we're in now, the access to information is so much better than the previous. Now, don't get me wrong, like, the use of Twitter cycle on cycle increases dramatically. So you're always going to get like your meme coins and your kind of maybe shorter term investment thesis planning, to call it in a nice politically correct way. But what I've been seeing this cycle is a lot of the coins that are doing well in the altcoin sector, they're actually very select specific tokens. I'll give an example, and I'll tie this back to Theta. So like Hype token, Hyperliquid is by far one of the best new products that we've seen cycle on cycle in crypto.
With a good use case.
Good use case.
The buybacks,
the amount of people
burn, and all
who use
that.
it. It's a good product if that is the kind of product you want to use. I'm not encouraging people to start leverage trading on a decentralized platform, but that's done particularly well. A lot of DeFi protocols such as Maple Finance have done very well because they've got a lot of TVL. They've proven that they can do something, and they get rewarded accordingly. Now, back in 2021, you could just invest in anything that's going up. You could literally just buy any meme coin, any cryptocurrency. It could be a scam.
Blindfold, throw a dart, no problem.
Exactly, and you probably make a 10x, and then it'll go down 99.9% afterwards, but that's another story. So I think that with that in mind, what we're seeing this cycle is the hallmarks of you got to be a lot more picky with what you choose. So people are going to start looking at things like, hang on a second, am I buying this project and 90% of the tokens are going to come out and dilute me over the next 5 years?
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a staking mechanism that makes no sense whatsoever and it's just going to rip me out into the ground. Tokenomics are going to matter a lot more this cycle, I believe. And projects' ability to reconcile with this move of institutional capital into the cryptocurrency space and more traditional investors wanting to engage with cryptocurrency platforms and services and protocols, they're the kind of things that are going to really impact how altcoins do. So for coins like Theta, if they're in a position where they are building good products and there is the ability for those products to solve real world problems, and then the token itself is fully diluted, and they have a staking rewards mechanism with T Fuel that is not going to ultimately cause tokenomics that burn the project to the ground, which we've seen with some projects like Axie Infinity, for example, and other ones where staking just kills it, then it's primed to actually do well. The team's just got to get that marketing out. I think that's the biggest thing with Theta.
Yeah, it's the marketing. A lot of people say that they're not doing proper marketing. I see a little bit of marketing, though. With the sports teams, the professional teams, they've got their banners up. They got the NHL, they got the Theta across the whatever you call it, the light board that goes across midway, above the club room. What the hell am I talking about?
No, I got you. I think that a lot of these projects, look, they're smart, right? Like, do you want to spend your marketing budget when you're in a crippling bear market? No, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing that Coinbase even could have really done in a bear market to try and 5x their volume. They know that. They know that their volume is tied to price action and volatility. So I feel like with projects like Theta, who have a well-tenured team of executives, and they do have a marketing budget, they do have a company treasury, are you going to start deploying that now, or are you going to wait until maybe Ethereum hits a new all-time high, and you know that historically that is probably a leading indicator of whether that money is going to start flowing down into the altcoin sector?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they timed a marketing campaign.
You know, it's all about timing. Timing is crucial because you don't want to be launching and doing all this stuff, marketing when nobody has interest in cryptos right now.
Exactly.
So maybe the timing is coming up for them to do some really proper marketing. I know they recently signed a deal with the AWS, which is for the AI.
Yep.
So Theta is like I think it's going to be the pipeline for AI.
Yep.
And I think T Fuel is going to be the burn mechanism, or I think it's going to be the fuel that powers the AI, in my opinion. And I've never been paid to talk about Theta ever. I've never been offered anything. All I got was a T-shirt and a hat for talking about
nice.
Theta.
Yeah.
Which I love this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a very simple guy. Just give me a shirt and a hat, and I'm so happy.
Done deal. I'll make a note of that.
Jay, what do you like? What's your favorite project right now besides XRP?
Right now, I think I'll try and think of things that aren't voiced in every single podcast of I'm not going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like that. I obviously mentioned before that Bitcoin was what kind of got me into the market, and I still hold a Bitcoin to this day. And I think Bitcoin will do very well over the next decade or two. For me, some different ones. I think Hyperliquid actually is one of them. Hype. A lot of us in the office were trying to we were farming points to try and get the Hyperliquid airdrop. We had a very nice day and had some nice Negronis at a local bar in the office when the airdrop came out. And people were like, I don't need this job anymore. I just got an airdrop. So that was pretty cool. I like that it's a product that's just done tremendously well and it just innovates very, very, very fast. I don't think that crypto investors, unless you're very confident and seasoned, should ever touch leverage. So this is not me advocating to use a platform like Hyperliquid.
Right. But you can
I just
invest
think
in the
that
platform, though.
Yeah, the actual token itself is sound, and it's done quite well. I think that the market has rewarded, and intelligent money has rewarded, that good platforms deserve to do well. I think Maple Finance is one that I've done quite well on during this cycle. I think that the whole DeFi ecosystem, platforms like Aave, Maker, I'm constantly reminded that in this horrible bear market, we saw the collapse of centralized lenders. Celsius to the ground, and several other platforms just went to nothing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really mention that the decentralized platforms, they kept operating. There was no downtime.
Aave's been functioning perfectly for all this time.
Aave's product has gotten drastically better with all the support for different blockchains that it enables. And peer-to-peer lending, I think, is one of the most compelling use cases and products that have been built. I think products like Aave are some of the best dApps built on Ethereum. And I really hope that in this cycle, a lot more people start to realize, wow, there's actually a lot of really good decentralized applications out there. And maybe that's something that I should consider putting some investment into. I'd say they're probably the ones that, so the DeFi sector and the hype, I think they're ones that I've had a keen eye on.
Are you a big Ethereum holder?
Yeah, not as much as I used to be.
Okay.
I think Ethereum, so last cycle, I'm happy to say I took some kind of cash off the table in a whole, just a percentage of the portfolio as a whole. And I didn't really ever put much more back into ETH. I've been more bullish on Bitcoin than I have on ETH for a while.
Yeah.
And I just think that Ethereum, it's disappointed me in its ability to attract new investors. I was mentioning to you just before,
the trade shows, right?
Yeah, you go to a trade show and Ethereum's like, maybe there's a few plush toys and, branded big pens lying around. That's about it. And then you see Solana and it's like, you want to be at the Solana tent. Like, that looks cool. Like, everyone wants to go there, and they're doing parties, and they're really trying to get new retail investors thinking about their product. The Solana phone and a whole variety of things that they've done. They've had Pump Fund launched on their platform.
Yeah, we talked about that.
The product has not really done anything good for the world, but it was launched on Solana.
Yeah, so correct.
Solana's been able to capture that.
What happened to the Solana phone? Is it out, or is it they still talking about it?
Yeah, it's out. I think a few people in the office might have even got one, but they're certainly not using it day to day. So I think Solana needs to probably focus more on having less downtime in volatile periods.
We talked about that too.
They've had more innovative products built than simple meme coin trading mechanisms.
Solana's has some challenges with their blockchains freezing up or whatever. I think I remember maybe 3 times, maybe more than that, maybe less. I don't know, but for some reason I think 3 times or whatever. Hopefully they get that ironed out. So a lot of people that they love Solana. I mean, Solana's done extremely well. Yeah. Solana was, has done many multiples in ROI.
And look, Ethereum had its teething issues back in the day, to be fair.
True.
Early ICO period, Ethereum was an NFT period as well. The amount of times I remember being in gas wars, having to pay hundreds of dollars on a transaction.
Wow. That was like
burning money trying to get a transaction done, and after
that seemed like 100 years ago, but it wasn't. Just 2 or 3 years ago, or something like that. Right?
Ethereum was really the only main smart contract leader when it came to products being built on it. Now Solana's kind of coming in. A lot of Ethereum maxes saying, "See, Solana's had downtime. I told you it doesn't work." I'm thinking, let's not pretend you're not being fraught with your issues as well. We're a new industry here.
Yeah. What do you think about Cardano?
Cardano's in an interesting place. I think there is a case that Cardano does do well, and I say that on the basis of the price action we've seen on a lot of those coins from cycles ago. So we saw XRP kind of look like dead and decrepit for such a long time, and then kind of come with this massive comeback and hit new all-time highs. We've also seen a lot of other tokens from cycles ago start to really get some positive price action, particularly last month as well, like Litecoin I mentioned as an example, Stellar as an example. So I do think that there is a case for Cardano to kind of see a resurgence based on just those older kind of platforms really coming back. But I think that if Cardano is going to have long-term price action, it does principally rely, in this market more than any others, it relies on having good products built. And there's no real Cardano dApps that I've been able to see that, like Hyperliquid's on Arbitrum, Aave's on Ethereum. There's a whole variety of decent products on Solana as well, not just Pump Fund and things like that. Cardano needs to really get in there and say, hey, we have awesome products built on our blockchain, and this is why those products are better than anything built on any other blockchain. If they can get to that point and they can show that they're better than Sui, they're better than Solana, better than Ethereum, if they do that, that's going to do
off to the races.
well. Off to the races.
But ADA is part of the U.S. Crypto Strategic Reserve.
Yes.
So that, to me, that's like something to look into. If somebody is not a Cardano holder, I mean, there's only like 5 cryptos that's in part of the reserve. Is it 5? How many?
I think it was 5 mentioned.
Was it 5 mentioned?
To be fair, I think he mentioned it on Twitter of all places.
Oh yeah, he loves Twitter.
I think a lot of those people call them like the dinosaur projects, like the 2017. Like if you look at the top 10 from 2017, and a lot of those projects are the ones being mentioned by Trump, and they are the ones that are more palatable for regulators to like. So for example, Litecoin's always just been seen as a purist cryptocurrency. It's never had any issues with the SEC. It's never been labeled as security. No one's really ever labeled it as security. So I do think that there is an argument to say that a lot of those 2-cycle old tokens will make a resurgence, particularly if Trump is outright mentioning them as a strategic reserve. I just hope that they actually can get the benefit of that, get that price action, but principally build good products.
Charles Hoskinson the other day, I saw in an interview, he said that, he says, somebody asked him about Cardano, do you think Cardano can really show a positive ROI? He says, ADA can do 100x, maybe even 1,000x. And he got a lot of flack on Twitter for that. And people's like, oh, the market cap, there's no way it can do 1,000x, whatever. But I wonder though, I mean, who knows where Cardano is going to end up at as far as multiples or whatever. But
I mean, if you told me, I could tell you straight up right now, we've got 50,000 clients around the world. So we've got every demographic investment thesis you can imagine. Now, the vast majority of them do have exposure to XRP. We do have some clients, though, who might hate XRP. They're maxis of some other, maybe they're Bitcoin maxis, whatever the case may be. To each their own, right? And if I said to them, do you think that XRP will ever hit a new all-time high in terms of its raw unit price? They would tell me that they would eat a hat before that would happen. They would say 0 chance. Like if that happens, I'll bet you $1 million that won't happen.
It'll never get to 360,
they would have taken
right?
those bets.
Or 380, whatever it is.
So I'm constantly reminded in this space that, there is a glory story available for everything out there if it can find the right traction, the right regulatory environment, the right marketing campaign, and the right product market fit. Everything can do well. Do I think Cardano is going to do 1,000x? If I had to put money on it, I'd say no.
Yeah.
However, does it have the potential of really winning back a lot of its audience and getting back to the kind of hype that it had 2 cycles ago? Well, XRP has done that. XLM has done that. Hedera HBAR has done that. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana have certainly done that. Solana came back. Remember the price that Solana went to after FTX? It went to $250 and retraced to $4.
I didn't think it was going to come back.
Neither did I.
I didn't think it was going to come back. Just for the record, I thought there's no way it's going to recover. But I was wrong on that one.
Exactly. So if you said to me, is Cardano capable of going from, if Cardano right now is probably the equivalent of Solana at $20?
Yeah.
Is it possible of doing a 10x? Well, of course it's possible. Just
with crypto, anything is possible.
yes.
Because we talked earlier about XRP back in 17.
Yeah.
It did 500x. Am I right? But it did 480.
Oh, God,
it did 480x, 48,000%.
Yeah.
I was there. I was there in the trenches on Poloniex.
Oh yeah, that's
You
wow,
you remember they had the troll box on the
Yeah.
right side? Oh man, I was just people were pumping their coins and whatever. But I remember those are the early days. This was early 17, and but I saw, I bought XRP originally. It was like half a cent or something like that. Did I hold it until 380? No, but I bought XRP very early, but it did go up 480 times, which is crazy. Why can it not go up another 480 times, or any crypto for that matter?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's when you're in those very tiny market caps, there is that kind of greater possibility. I mean, that's largely why people like to buy these minuscule meme coins and these small new ICO projects, because the possibility of saying, well, if this goes to a $5 billion market cap, I make 500x my money.
Yeah, right.
Whereas if somebody's already at a $5 billion market cap, getting from 5 billion to 10 billion is that in itself, a 2x, is a significant move.
Yeah, sure.
But then again, like a lot of people said, Bitcoin's market cap is way too high when it was sitting at $30,000, $40,000 per coin, and now it's $120,000.
Yeah.
So once again, like things seem ridiculous, but then they happen, and then they're not so ridiculous.
Yeah. There was, back to XRP again, there was a couple of guys that were on the New York Stock Exchange floor 1 or 2 weeks ago. They were on some show there. They were actually on the floor at New York Stock Exchange, and they said, they were talking about their app. And did you see this or not? Do you know about this?
Is this the for Ethereum's 10-year anniversary?
No, maybe. I just saw the 5 or 6 minute clip where these guys were talking about their app, and then they said, by the way, one of the guys says, he said, by the way, I think XRP will be $1,000 by 2030. And he says, the first time I'm ever saying this publicly. And this is now Wall Street knows about this now, right? And there's a lot of flack on Twitter about this. There's no way you can do that. The market cap's they always say the market cap. I don't think the market cap matters. Maybe I'll talk about that later. But if it went 500x before, if it goes to $1,000, I'm not saying it will, but if XRP goes to $1,000, that's a 300x, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. We saw 500. I know it's a higher market cap, but I still don't think it matters. But, and I'm not saying this is my price prediction. I'm just saying I do think that XRP can do some crazy numbers because as far as the utility, it has to be at a higher price. It cannot function at $3.
Well, yeah. So I think that XRP, it goes hand in hand. For XRP needs to solve more problems and get a greater use case and adoption on a day-to-day basis. And through that will come further price discovery.
Yeah.
In the absence of doing that, then it might disappoint people. That's just the brutal reality of cryptocurrency.
There's so much disappointment in this space.
You innovate or die. They're the two options.
Yeah, sure.
So I think that if XRP becomes one of the largest bridge currency in the world, and it completely reshapes that we do global finance and foreign exchange.
It has to be at least 3 figures, I think.
If it becomes a leader of that, absolutely, the price action is going to be disgustingly good. Of course it will. And it's the same note where it's like if any smart contract provider can just completely monopolize the space and be such an efficient tool and such a reliable product that you would never consider using anything else to launch a decentralized app on, then whatever that project may be, it could be something that doesn't exist yet, something new. It could be Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Sui, who knows? That's probably going to eventually hit $1 trillion market cap in and of itself.
Sure. So I think we have a lot of big moves ahead of us until for now. I know 2030 is a long time. It's 5 years from now, 4.5 years from now, right? And it feels like this space move is 3 times faster, 5 times faster than the normal. So it's like 15 years from now, whatever it is, right? But I do think that we're going to see some really big numbers, and the whole world's going to be into crypto eventually. Everybody's going to be buying crypto directly or indirectly, or through their 401k or through their retirement plan. Everybody's going to have crypto at one point. So I'm excited for the space. Okay, I'm gonna close here in just a minute, but I want to ask you a prediction from you.
Okay.
Where do you think in this cycle? Where do you think the market cap will be? Where do you think that right now?
Total market cap.
The total market cap. We're at about just under $4 trillion right now. Where do you think it's going to end up?
I think that this is just pure speculation.
It's just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun. I think that I think the problem with the market cap is that Bitcoin is already starting to have the hallmarks of slowing down with Ethereum coming up. And in order to predict a larger market cap, Bitcoin being 60 or so percent, or 50, 60, 70, whatever it is right now, off total market share, means that if Bitcoin has stagnated and everything else comes up, the total market cap may not actually move that much because the altcoins are so tiny with respect to Bitcoin. That being said, I think that Bitcoin can get over 150,000 USD per coin during this period and potentially during 2025. I think it will happen this year. If later this year we get to that, then we're looking at probably I think Ethereum will reach new all-time highs, potentially mirror Bitcoin and double those highs. I think $8,000 Ethereum, $9,000 Ethereum.
You're reverse engineering. I like that.
Yeah. I think that we can probably expect maybe a 50 to maybe 75% increase in the total market cap. And that doesn't sound that crazy, but bear in mind, the majority of that increase, I think, is going to come with new capital flowing into the altcoins, which have significantly smaller market dominance. So you could have a small altcoin that 5x's. It's not going to move the dial on the collective market cap.
Yeah,
only Bitcoin can really move that.
Market cap can be really deceiving. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Yeah.
And if the market the market cap for the collective crypto space has increased by 100% since Trump got in, but that's entirely because Bitcoin doubled.
Yeah,
Even
right.
XRP's great performance only moves the dial by a single-digit percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say 50 to 75% increase from here on out, it doesn't sound that sexy. It doesn't probably not what people want to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
But bear in mind, that can still account for numerous 10, 20, 30 X's
Sure,
in
yeah.
space.
Yeah, you can still get rich, very rich out of this market.
Yeah.
No matter how, I mean, you say, so if it goes at 50%, so that would go from 4 trillion to 6 trillion.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a little bit higher, but, you know, I've been wrong on these market cap predictions. I was thinking back in 2021, I was thinking we're going to go to, what I say, 5 to 8 or something. We stopped at 3.
Yeah.
We fell short. I feel like we got rugged a little bit.
The crazy thing is there, because Bitcoin back then had comparable dominance to what it does now, but it had comparable dominance at a price of $60,000 per Bitcoin. And then when that dominance subsided and the alts lifted, the market cap off cryptocurrency as a whole barely moved, yet we saw the whole DeFi sector just 10x'd. Anything in gaming, NFT related, 20x'd. But it just doesn't move the collective dial.
Doesn't move the needle. Yeah. Well, I'll make another prediction, and I could be wrong, and I could be right. I think that the market cap's going to go to about 10 trillion. I think about 10 trillion. Yeah.
I'd be very happy with that.
We got to make up for that 2021. I feel like we fell short. We got rugged. I think it's going to make up. I think we're going to get to about 10. So that's my prediction. We'll see what happens. People can timestamp it and give me hell later, whatever. That's fine. I'm used to it now. I've been in this space, not as long as you, but I've been in this space since early 17. So I've gone through a few cycles as well. And
for sure.
A few calluses, a few bruises and a few whatever, trolls, whatever. That's okay. Now I'm like totally immune now. So
we know that you're never going to buy the bottom. You're never going to sell the top. As long as you find yourself somewhere in between where you end up learning something, making a bit of money and enjoying the process, then life is good.
There you go. Wise words.
Yeah, and you will get rugged once or twice in that period.
Of course.
If you want, in order to get yourself a 20x, you have to get 100% loss as well.
Of course,
they go hand in hand.
It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, exactly.
Jake, I really appreciate your time today. I mean, this has been a great interview.
Thank you so much.
Good to meet you. Good to see you, and we'll do this again, of course, some more time. Okay, great. All right, this is DD. It's all I got. I'll see you guys next time.